Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Nara Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtakiyo Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome for the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam reading class. So, yesterday, what we had done is that we were supposed to start from the 26th shloka. We had discussed till the we had discussed till the 25th shloka, where the Lord being pleased with Brahma, he asked Brahma for a benediction. And he asked Brahma that please ask a benediction. So then in return, then Brahma is going to ask some questions to the Supreme Lord. And his questions are very interesting, because when he is questioning, Brahma is questioning not only for himself, but he is questioning for us also. So he has some details about whatever he is questioning. So let's dive into the just give me 1 minute. So Brahma asks he's asking the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord will immediately answer the questions to his answer his questions. So he says that Tathapi Natha Manasya Natha Nathaya Nathiyatam Paravare Yatharupe Jani Yate Tvarupina. So he says that in spite of that, my Lord, I am praying to you to kindly fulfill my desire. May I please be informed now, in spite of your transcendental form, you assume the mundane form, although you have no such form at all. So in fact, Brahmaji is questioning about the Lord's forms. He's saying that, please tell me about your material form also and your spiritual form also. So if you see in this particular text that he is definitely questioning the material forms and the spiritual forms, because though the Supreme Lord has no material form, but still he would like to know his Roop and our Roop also. And he likes to know about even the Pararoop also, the spiritual form. So that's where he's saying that please request, he's requesting. And then ahead he's saying that Yathatma Maya Yogena Nana Shakti Upabhramitam Vilupam Visrajan Grahan Bibrat Atmanam Atmanam. So he's saying that Okay, there's a purport to it. Let's read this. Lakshmi Narayan Prabhu, please read the translation and purport both, Prabhu.
Mataji Hare Krishna Dinathan. Translation. And please inform me how you, by your own self, manifest different energies for annihilation, generation, acceptance, and maintains by combination and permutation. Purport. The whole manifestation is the Lord Himself by diffusion of His different energies only, namely the internal, external, and marginal. Just as the sunlight is the manifestation of the energy of the sun planet, such energy is simultaneously one with and different from the Lord. Just as the sunshine is simultaneously one with and different from the sun planet. The energies are acting by combination and permutation by the indication of the Lord, and the acting agents like Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are also different incarnations of the Lord. In other words, there is nothing but the Lord, and still the Lord is different from all such manifestive activities. How it is so will be explained later on. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah. So now if you see, when Brahmaji's, sorry, uh, just give me 1 minute, okay? This is a very urgent. Sorry about that. So, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he describes that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to the people of Varanasi this entire conclusion about the Vedanta Sutras, or you can say Brahma Sutra. And then he goes on to explain even the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, being the essence of the three tattvas, that is Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Bhagavater Sambandha Abhideya Prayojan Chatushloki te Prakata Tarakariyachi Lakshan. So, he says that the essence of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and our relationship with the Supreme Lord, our activities, whatever, in connection to that, and the goal of life is actually manifested in these 4 verses of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is actually known as the Chatushloki Bhagavatam. And he's saying that everything is explained in those 4 verses. So then he says that, then he says that what is this Sambandha Gyan? Sambandha Gyan means knowledge about the Supreme Lord. And the practical application, that knowledge is called Vigyan. And Abhideya means, when you're practicing devotional service, bhakti. So that is called Abhideya. And the Prayojan is the final goal. The final goal is love of God, that is Prema. So Krishna also has given this introduction before speaking the 4 seed verse to Lord Brahma. And he's saying in the very, Krishna, when he's answering to Brahmaji, he's saying that Jnanam Param Guhyam Me Yad Vijnanam, because that is there exactly in the 31st shloka only. So I'm just reading from the Bhagavatam, this shloka. Yad Vijnanam Samanvitam Sarhasyam Tad Angam Cha Grihana Gaditam Maya. So like, whatever knowledge about me is described in these scriptures is very confidential. And that knowledge has to be realized in conjunction with devotional service. So, and whatever is the necessary paraphernalia that is required for that process, now I'm going to explain to it. And then you can take that carefully. So then Prabhupada also is writing, he's saying that these 4 verses, that is Gyan, Vijnana, Tad Anga, Tad Rahasya, they are all on spiritual platform. And all the other 4 principles that are there, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, they are the 4 divisions of the regulated life and on the material platform. And Jiva Goswami, very interestingly, he says in the Bhagavad Sandarbha, because I have done two courses actually. I've done Tattva Sandarbha course also, and I've done Bhagavad Sandarbha course also under BVRV. So they have mentioned that this introductory, that verse, it is pointing out to actually the Chatushloki. And then it is categorizing into three tattvas, Jnana, Vijnana, and Gyan, Vigyan, they are mentioned, in this particular verse. And the first and the second verse, both of the Chatushloki, they are Saharasya and Tad Angam. And they correspond to the third and the fourth verses, So also in the Bhakti Sandarbha, where Jiva Goswami is saying that this Rahasyam Bhakti Tad Angam Sadhanam Iti. So, where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and Jiva Goswami both have commented on these four shlokas of the Bhagavatam, the Chatushloki of the Bhagavatam, where even so Jiva Goswami has commented in Bhagavad Sandarbha, and Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has given this in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela. So when you say the 33rd shloka is of Jnanam, the 34th shloka is of Vijnanam, and the 36th is of Sadhana Bhakti, and 35th is of Prema Bhakti. So when he's asking these four questions, then there is a corresponding answer the Supreme Lord is giving. So he over here in this particular shloka, what is he saying? That he's asking about the Lord's energies and how are these various spiritual and material energies of the Lord, they are working. So then that question he's answering in the shloka number 34. So and he's asking that also, okay, what is your role? What is the role of your Mahamaya? How do you interact with Mahamaya? Do you interact through your external energy, internal energy? So what is the role? So two distinguishing people. One is Yogmaya, one is Mahamaya. And sometimes even the Lord hides his own spiritual form. And sometimes he manifests it. And sometimes he maintains that form also. So even if you see in the Ras Leela, he manifested that form for very some time. He maintained that form also. And when he realized that these gopis are very proud, then immediately what did he do? He unmanifested that particular form of his. So according to the time, place and circumstance, he will manifest, he will unmanifest. So this is what they're asking. Let's go to the next shloka. So in this 28th shloka, he will ask, okay, what are the Lord's activities? Oh Krishna, what are your activities in relation to this material energy and the spiritual energy? How do you act? How does the Lord enact or interact with the Yoga Maya and the Mahamaya? He says that Kidasya Meghasya Sankalpa Urna Bhirya Thornute Tatha Tad Vishayam Dehi Manisha Mai Madhava. This is the 28th shloka, no? Okay, yeah. Brinda, please read this shloka, translation and purport both.
Translation. O master of all energies, please tell me philosophically all about them. You play like a spider that covers itself by its own energy, and your determination is infallible. Purport. By the conceivable energy of the Lord, every creative element has its own potencies, known as the potency of the element. potency of the knowledge and potency of different actions and reactions. By a combination of such potencies of the Lord, there is the manifestation of creation, maintenance, and annihilation in due course of time and by different agents like Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. Brahma creates, Vishnu manifests, and the Lord Vishnu maintains, and the Lord Shiva destroys. By all such agents and creative energies are emanations.
Just give me 1 minute. Oh, that mouse has got stuck. Yeah.
From the Lord, and as such, there is nothing except the Lord or the one supreme source of different diversities. The exact example is the spider and spider's web. The web is created by the spider and it is maintained by the spider. And as soon as the spider likes, the whole thing is wound up within the spider. The spider is covered within the web. If an insignificant spider is so powerful as to act according to its will, why can the Supreme Being act by his supreme will in the creation, maintenance, and destruction of the cosmic manifestations? By the grace of the Lord, a devotee like Brahma, or one in his chain of disciplic succession, can understand the Almighty's personality of Godhead, eternally engaged in his transcendental pastimes in the region of different energies.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Vrindavita. So he's saying that even in the 27th shloka, in this particular shloka, what he's saying that, oh Lord, your desire is never obstructed. And destroying, creating, and maintaining, the material world, you do it by your various energies. And by your material energy, you manifest, and you're manifesting even by your spiritual energy, and by your own power you manifest, or by your own will you manifest, and you perform many pastimes also. He's saying that just as a spider creates a web, and by your spiritual energy, and sometimes you're hiding yourself, sometimes you manifest yourself in various forms, and even you're maintaining those forms for your devotees. So and you are performing Kridayasi, you're performing these pastimes like a spider is making a web, and he makes a particular web, and you are giving me that intelligence to understand how to do this. So Brahma is giving that credit to actually Lord Krishna, that I am not the creator, actually you are the original creator. So even if you see, Krishna is the primary creator and Lord Brahma is the secondary creator. Because until unless Krishna gives the power to Lord Brahma, he is not, he is not capable of creating this. And that is why, what benediction is he asking? That you please give me a benediction so that I may be able to create this creation according to whatever you have desired. So, these are the three questions so far Brahma has asked. What is the first question? The Lord's forms. Please tell me about your material and forms and spiritual forms. And then he's asking that, what are your various material energies and spiritual energies? So how are these various spiritual and material energies working? And then he's asking about the Lord's activities. That what are your activities in relation to this material and spiritual energies? And now he will ask for mercy. Mercy for Lord's service. So let's see in the 29th shloka. Bhagavad Chikitsitam aham karvani hi atendriya drihtaha nehamana praja sarga vadheyam yad anugrahat. Anugraha means by the mercy of. Prabhu, please read this translation and purport both.
Translation. Please tell me so that I may be taught in the matter by the instruction of the personality of Godhead, and may thus act instrumentally to generate living entities, without being conditioned by such activities. Purport: Brahmaji does not want to become a speculator dependent on the strength of his personal knowledge and conditioned to material bondage. Everyone should know in clear consciousness that one is, in the execution of all activities, an instrument. A conditioned soul is instrumental in the hands of the external energy, Gunamahi Maya, or the illusory energy of the Lord. And in the liberated stages, the living entity is instrumental to the will of the personality of Godhead directly. To be instrumental to the direct will of the Lord is a natural constitutional position of the living entity, whereas to be an instrument in the hands of the illusory energy of the Lord is material bondage for the living entity. In that conditioned state, the living entity speculates on the absolute truth and his different activities. But in the unconditioned stage, the living entity directly receives knowledge from the Lord, and such a liberated soul acts flawlessly without any speculative habit. The Bhagavad-gītā 10.10-11 confirms emphatically that the pure devotees who are constantly engaged in the loving transcendental service of the Lord are directly advised by the Lord, so much so that the devotee unwaveringly makes progress on the path home back to Godhead. Pure devotees of the Lord are therefore not proud of their definite progress, whereas the non-devotee speculator is in the darkness of illusory energy and is very much proud of his misleading knowledge based on speculation without any definite path. Lord Brahma wanted to be saved from that pitfall of pride, although he was posted in the most exalted position within the universe. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So he's saying that without lethargy, may I, just carry out this particular seva or instruction on how to worship you as given by you. And because only by your mercy alone, I will not be bound by this false ego that I'm having. Also, he's saying that bhedyam, be conditioned. So, because conditioning life means being, falsely egoistic. So, and then when I carry out the creation, that is praja sargam, whatever I carry out, then means please bestow your mercy so that I may carry out your instructions without any lethargy and pride. Imagine Lord Brahma has, everybody is able to hear me? Hare Krishna?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, okay. He told me that my internet connection is unstable, so I was just clear. So he's saying that Lord Brahma, who has gained the mercy of the Lord. Now somebody might think that, oh, I have gained the mercy of the Lord now, like I'm free from everything. But no, yet he is so alert that no, even after I have got the mercy of the Lord, I should be more active. He's saying that I should carry out your instructions without lethargy. Lethargy means laziness and pride. That oh, I am the creator of this universe. I should not have this pride, because ultimately I know that I am the secondary creator. I am not the primary creator at all. So this particular benediction is in the mood of humility, and this is actually very nice learning from us, for us also, from Lord Brahma, that when somebody reaches to a very advanced stage, so sometimes there will be pride because you've reached to a very great height and an advanced level. But they say that the more you are advanced, the more humble you will be. Just as there is a tree which has many fruits, but the more the tree is loaded with fruits, that much only, the branches are actually bowing down towards the earth, right? So कहते हैं ना कि जितना पेड़ फल फूलों से लदा बदा होगा, वो इतना ही झुका हुआ होगा. So the more the number of qualities, spiritual qualities a person adopts in spiritual life or cultivates in spiritual life, the more humble he will be. And he will not be attacked by pride. And the more active he will be, he will not be very lethargic. Like Kali Yuga's, two qualities is people will be lazy and they will be hypocritic. So laziness will not attack such devotees. So this is what Brahma is saying. Let's see the next shloka. It's a very nice learning from Lord Brahma, who is the first jiva of this material creation. Yavat sakha sakhyur ishva te krita praja visarge vibhajami bhojam aviklavaste parikramani sthito mane samudha madoha maninaha. Shyam Sundari Mataji, please read this translation and purport both.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
O my Lord, the unborn, you have shaken hands with me just as a friend does with a friend, as if equal in position. I shall be engaged in the creation of different types of living entities, and I shall be occupied in your service. I shall have no perturbation, but I pray that all this may not give rise to pride, as if I were the supreme. Purport. Lord Brahma is definitely situated in the humor of friendship with the Lord. Every living being is eternally related with the personality of Lordhead in one of the 5 different transcendental humors, namely Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. We have already discussed these 5 kinds of humors in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is clearly exhibited herein that Lord Brahma is related to the personality of Godhead in the transcendental humor of friendship. A pure devotee may be related with the Lord in any one of the transcendental humors, even in the humor of parenthood. But the devotee of the Lord is always a transcendental servitor. No one is equal to or greater than the Lord. That is a version of the Bhagavad-gītā. Brahmaji, although eternally related with the Lord in the transcendental humor of friendship, and although entrusted with the most exalted position of creating different grades of living entities, is still conscious of his position, that he is neither the Supreme Lord nor supremely powerful. It is possible that some extremely powerful personality within or without the universe may sometimes show more power than the Lord himself. Still, the pure devotee knows that this power is a vibhuti delegated by the Lord, and such a delegated powerful living entity is never independent. Sri Hanumanji crossed the Indian Ocean by jumping over the sea, and Lord Sri Ramachandra engaged himself in marching over the bridge. But this does not mean that Hanumanji was powerful than the Lord. Sometimes the Lord gives extraordinary powers to his devotee, but the devotee knows always that the power belongs to the personality of Godhead and that the devotee is only an instrument. The pure devotee is never puffed up like the non-devotee class of men who falsely think that they are God. It is astonishing to see how a person who is being kicked by the laws of the Lord's illusory energy at every step can falsely think of becoming one with the Lord. Such thinking is the last snare of the illusory energy offered to the conditioned soul. The first illusion is that he wants to become Lord of the material world by accumulating wealth and power. But when he is frustrated in that attempt, he wants to be one with the Lord. So both becoming the most powerful man in the material world and desiring to become one with the Lord are different illusory snares. And because the pure devotees of the Lord are surrendered souls, they are above the illusory snares of Maya. Because Lord Brahma is a pure devotee, even though the first dominating deity in the material world and therefore able to do many wonderful things, he would never, like the non-devotee with a poor fund of knowledge, have the audacity to think of becoming one with the Lord. People with the poor fund of knowledge should take lessons from Brahma when they are puffed up with the false notion of becoming God. Factually, Lord Brahma does not create the living entities. In the beginning of the creation, he is empowered to give different bodily shapes to the living entities according to their work during the last millennium. Brahmaji's duty is just to wake the living entities from their slumber and to engage them in their proper duty. The different grades of living entities are not created by Brahmaji by his capricious whims, but he is entrusted with the task of giving the living entities different grades of body so that they can work accordingly. And still, he is conscious that he is only instrumental, so that he may not think of himself as a supreme powerful Lord. Devotees of the Lord are engaged in the specific duty offered by the Lord, and such duties are successfully carried out without hindrance because they are ordained by the Lord. The credit of success goes not to the doer, but to the Lord. But persons with a poor fund of knowledge take the credit of success into their own accounts and give nothing to the credit of the Lord. That is a symptom of the non-devotee class of men. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. So he's saying that, oh Lord Krishna, I have been treated by you as a friend, treats a friend. And as long as my tenure lasts, please help me that I should not be attacked with lethargy and I should be situated in your service. And I will create various types of living entities as, as my duty, like it is my duty as in the matter of carrying out this creation. But may I not be overcome by excessive pride in these endeavors. He's saying that. And why I should not have pride means he's saying that I should not think that I'm an independent creator. I means because I have been treated by you as a friend, please ensure that as long as my tenure lasts, I should carry out the creation without being affected by pride or lethargy, both. So, because your lethargy is actually in the mode of goodness, I'm saying, sorry. Lethargy is in the mode of ignorance and pride is in the mode of passion. So, when these two are there, then definitely there will be, they say, that pride come before falls. So, he's he's in a very humble mood praying to the Supreme Lord that please let me not be attacked by pride and lethargy. And now the Supreme Lord will start speaking. The Supreme Lord will start answering. And actually this is the 31st shloka is actually the prelude to the Chatushloki. Okay, so when you say prelude, like we had the prelude for the Bhagavatam, the first canto, first shloka, second shloka, and the third shloka. They were the prelude because all those three shlokas again spoke about the Sambandha Gyan, the Abhideya Gyan, and the Prayojan Gyan. And the first two shlokas spoke about the greatness of Krishna. But the third shloka, Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam, that shloka spoke about the sweetness of Krishna. So that way. So let's see what the Supreme Lord has to say. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Jnanam Param Guhyam Me Yad Vijnanam Samanvitam Sarahasya Tadangam Cha Grihanam Gaditam Maya. So this particular 31st shloka, again, it's a long purport. Vignesh, please read this translation and purport both.
Translation. The personality of Godhead said, knowledge about me as described in the scriptures is very confidential, and it has to be realized in conjunction with devotional service. The necessary paraphernalia for that process is being explained by me. You may take it up carefully. Purport. Lord Brahma is the topmost devotee of the Lord within the universe, and therefore the personality of Godhead replied to his four principal inquiries in four important statements, which are known as the original Bhagavatam in 4 verses. These were Brahma's questions. 1. What are the forms of the Lord both in matter and in transcendence? 2. How are the energies of the Lord working? 3. How does the Lord play with his different energies? How may Brahma be instructed to discharge the duty entrusted to him? The prelude to the answers is this verse under discussion, wherein the Lord informs Brahma that knowledge of him, the supreme absolute truth, as it is stated in the revealed scriptures, is very subtle and cannot be understood unless one is self-realized by the grace of the Lord. The Lord says that Brahma may take the answers as he explains them. This means that transcendental knowledge of the absolute supreme being can be known if it is made known by the Lord himself. By the mental speculation of the greatest mundane thinkers, the absolute truth cannot be understood. The mental speculators can reach up to the standard of impersonal Brahman realization. But factually, complete knowledge of transcendence is beyond the knowledge of impersonal Brahman. Thus, it is called the supreme confidential wisdom. Out of many liberated souls, someone may be qualified to know the personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavad-gītā, it is also said by the Lord himself that out of many hundreds of thousands of people, one may try for perfection in human life, and out of many liberated souls, one may know him as he is. Therefore, the knowledge of the personality of Godhead may be attained by devotional service only. Rahasyam means devotional service. Lord Krishna instructed Arjuna in the Bhagavad-gītā because he found Arjuna to be a devotee and friend. Without such qualifications, one cannot enter into the mystery of the Bhagavad-gītā. Therefore, one cannot understand the personality of Godhead unless one becomes a devotee and discharges devotional service. This mystery is love of Godhead. Therein lies the main qualification for knowing the mystery of the personality of Godhead. And to attain the stage of transcendental love of Godhead, regulative principles of devotional service must be followed. The regulative principles are called Vidhi Bhakti, or the devotional service of the Lord, and they can be practiced by a neophyte with his present senses. Such regulative principles are mainly based on hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord. And such hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord can be made possible in the association of devotees only. Lord Chaitanya therefore recommended 5 main principles for attaining perfection in the devotional service of the Lord. The first is association with devotees, hearing. Second is chanting the glories of the Lord. Third, hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from the pure devotee. Fourth, residing in a holy place connected with the Lord. And fifth, worshipping the deity of the Lord with devotion. Such rules and regulations are parts of devotional service. So, as requested by Lord Brahma, the personality of Godhead will explain all about the 4 questions put forward by Brahma, and others also which are parts and parcels of the same questions.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So, this is like the, as I told, that this is actually the prelude of this. So, the Supreme Lord is saying that, see, I'll speak about Jnanam, that is the most confidential knowledge of my form. And I will speak about Vijnanam also. I'll speak about Prema Bhakti, that is Rahasyam, Sa Rahasyam, he says over here. And then he says that I will speak about I'll speak about Tad Angam also, any necessary paraphernalia. Now, Tad Angam means I'll speak about Sadhana Bhakti also. And then how to achieve Prema also. So that's what he is saying in this particular 31st shloka that is there. And he also says that the Supreme Lord is saying that, see, please understand that the most secret knowledge of my form, along with that realization of that particular form, and also understand about my Prema Bhakti and Sadhana Bhakti, which will be spoken by me only. And I will speak to you, and I will speak to you about the most secret knowledge of my form and the realization of that form, the Prema Bhakti and that Sadhana Bhakti. So this is what he's speaking in the 31st shloka. The Supreme Lord is speaking. And now, when we go to the 32nd shloka that is there, so the Supreme Lord is saying that he said truth about 5 things. Okay. in the 31st shloka, that truth about his Vijnanam and truth about his Saharasyam, Tadangam and all that, Jnanam and all. And now he will say that how will you attain this? So in this 32nd shloka, again, it's like a little more explanation. He says that Yavan aham yata bhavo yad rupa guna karmaka tathaiva tattva vijnanam astu te mad anugrahat. So I think we'll have to divide this 32 shloka into two parts because it's a long purport. Priyanka, please read the translation and purport, and I'll stop you wherever I feel that one page has got over that way.
Yes, ma'am. Hare Krishna. Translation. All of me, namely my actual eternal form and my transcendental existence, color, qualities, and activities, let all be awakened within you by factual realization out of my causeless mercy. Purport. The secret of success in understanding the intricacies of knowledge of this absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is the causeless mercy of the Lord. Even in the material world, the father of many sons discloses the secret of his position to the pet sons. The father discloses the confidence unto the son whom he thinks worthy. An important man in the social order can be known by his mercy only. Similarly, one must be very dear to the Lord in order to know the Lord. The Lord is unlimited, no one can know him completely, but one's advancement in the transcendental loving service of the Lord can make one eligible to know the Lord. Here we can see that the Lord is sufficiently pleased with Brahmaji and therefore he offers his causeless mercy to him so that Brahmaji may have the factual realization of the Lord by his mercy only. In the Vedas also it is said that a person cannot know the absolute truth, personality of Godhead, simply by dint of mundane education or intellectual gymnastics. One can know the supreme truth if one has unflinching faith in the bona fide spiritual master as well as in the Lord. Such a faithful person, even though illiterate in the mundane sense, can know the Lord automatically by the mercy of the Lord. In the Bhagavad-gītā also it is said that the Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone and he keeps himself concealed from the faithless by his Yogamaya potency. To the faithful, the Lord reveals himself in his form, quality, and pastimes. The Lord is not formless, as wrongly conceived by the impersonalist, but his form is not like one that we have experienced. The Lord discloses his form even to the extent of measurement to his pure devotees, and that is the meaning of Yavan, as explained by Srila Jiva Goswami, the greatest scholar of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The Lord discloses the transcendental nature of his existence. The mundane wranglers make mundane conceptions of the form of the Lord. It is said in the revealed scriptures that the Lord has no mundane form. Therefore, persons with a poor fund of knowledge conclude that he must be formless. They cannot distinguish between the mundane form and the spiritual form. According to them, without a mundane form, one must be formless. This conclusion is also mundane because formlessness is the opposite conception of form. Negation of the mundane conception does not establish a transcendental fact. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the Lord has a transcendental form and that he can utilize any one of his senses for any purpose. For example, he can eat with his eyes and he can see with his leg. In the mundane conception of form, one cannot eat with one's eyes or see with his leg. That is the difference between the mundane body and the spiritual body of Satchitananda. A spiritual body is not formless. It is a different type of body of which we cannot conceive with our present mundane senses. Formless therefore means devoid of mundane form or possessing a spiritual body of which the non-devotee can have no conception of the speculative method.
Yeah,
The
thank you.
Lord No, Krishna, Hare
I'll just leave somebody else to read. Nakul Prabhu, please read. The Lord discloses to the devotee. Nakul Prabhu is there, or he's just okay. Vanita Mataji, please read.
Yes, ma'am. The Lord discloses to the devotee his unlimited varieties of transcendental bodies, all identical with one another with different kinds of bodily features. Some of the transcendental bodies of the Lord are blackish, and some of them are whitish. Some of them are reddish, and some are yellowish. Some of them are four-handed, and some of them are two-handed. Some of them are like the fish, and some are like the lion. All these different transcendental bodies of the Lord, without any differential category, are disclosed to devotees of the Lord by the mercy of the Lord. And thus the impersonalist false arguments claiming the formlessness of the supreme truth do not appeal to a devotee of the Lord, even though such a devotee may not be very advanced in devotional service. The Lord has unlimited number of transcendental qualities, and one of them is his affection for his unalloyed devotee. In the history of the mundane world, we can appreciate his transcendental qualities. The Lord incarnates himself for the protection of his devotees and for the annihilation of the faithless. His activities are in relationship with his devotees. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is full of such activities of the Lord in the relationship with his devotees, and the non-devotees have no knowledge of such pastimes. The Lord lifted the Govardhana hill when he was only 7 years old and protected his pure devotees at Vrindavana from the wrath of Indra, who was overflooding the place with rain. Now, this lifting of the Govardhan hill by a 7-year-old boy may be unbelievable for the faithless, but for the devotees, it is absolutely believable. The devotee believes in the almighty potency of the Lord, while the faithless say that the Lord is almighty but do not believe it. Such men with a poor fund of knowledge do not know that the Lord is the Lord eternally, and that one cannot become the Lord by meditation for millions of years or by mental speculation for billions of years. The impersonal interpretation of mundane wranglers is completely refuted in this verse, because it is clearly stated here that the Supreme Lord has his qualities, form, pastimes, and everything that a person has. All these descriptions of the transcendental nature of the personality of Godhead are factual realizations by the devotee of the Lord, and by the causeless mercy of the Lord, they are revealed to his pure devotee and to no one else. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, thank you so much. So now actually from the 33rd verse, actually the whole 33, 34, 35 and 36. These are the actual Chatushloki, shlokas that are there. And this first verse of this Chatushloki, that is the 33rd verse, it speaks about Sambandha Gyan or Sambandha Tattva, or where he says about Jnanam, where in the 31st verse we saw Jnanam, Vijnanam, and Gyan, Vijnanam, Sarasyav and Tat Angam. So now the first shloka he's going to speak about Jnanam. So what is that Gyan? So he says that हम एवासम एवाग्रे नान्याद यत् सद असत परम पश्चादह अहम यत् एतच्च यो अवस्यस्येते सो असम्यहम. So he says that. So when I would actually like to break up this and we just see. So he says that Aham evasam evagre. He says that I alone existed before this creation, and he's confirming basically the eternity of his own form, his abode, his associates, his pastimes. So these are all eternal. They are not temporary. And then he's saying that Nanyad Yat Sad Asat Param. He's saying that that Brahman, which is very superior to the effect of Sat and Asat, the cause, they are actually non-different from me. Okay, so that's Sat and Asat. And then he's saying that Paschat Aham Yad Etatcha. So he's saying that even after the creation, only I exist. Because I exist as Bhagwan in Vaikuntha, Paramatma within the material universes, and I am only those various avtaras, the Purusha avtaras, the Leela avtaras, the Matsya avtaras, at certain times when it is really required. When there is an emergency, I only actually take that avatar. And he's saying that I am alone, this universe. Etad means मैं ही ये universe हूँ. And he's saying that so I am that universe, and I am only that whole. Om Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnadupujyate. So I am only that as a whole, and I am composed of individuals. And because this universe is generated from whose energy? My own energy. And that is why it is my material form. So this universe is Krishna's material form. So, and then he's saying that Yo avishishyate. So he's saying that I alone remain at the destruction. After the whole cosmic manifestation is destructed, only Krishna alone remains. Right. So even Lord Brahma is entering into him that way. So if you see Srila Jiva Goswami, he and all the acharyas have commented on this verse. Srila Jiva Goswami has commented, Srila Krishna Kaviraj Goswami has commented, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur has commented, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, in fact, he's taken all the essence of all these acharyas and then he's also commented. So, Srila Jiva Goswami, what is he saying? That he's saying that this verse is giving jnanam, knowledge about the Lord's personal form, and this knowledge is very confidential. Then the realization also of the impersonal feature. And Srila Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami, he says that this verse is giving the basis of understanding of one's relationship or the sambandha with the Lord. And this verse is telling, it is stressing more about the personal feature of the Supreme Lord. And it is stressing this word aham 3 times. He's saying aham, aham, and aham. 3 times it is actually stressing on this word that it is me only alone. And third one, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he is saying that, okay, this is in his Bhajan Rahasya book, okay. Now, I have done this course on this Bhajan Rahasya also. So, he is saying that this verse is actually explaining the Achintya philosophy, the philosophy of this Achintya Bhedabhed Tattva, because it is describing the Supreme Lord's nature, or it is explaining the nature of the Supreme Truth, and about Sri Krishna, who is like, transcendental sun, and who is eternally existing even after this universal destruction. And Srila Prabhupada is stressing on the personal feature of the Supreme Lord. If you see in the whole purport, he's just stressed on the personal feature of the Supreme Lord. So with that little explanation, let's move to the reading of this particular shloka. First, let me just see how many pages this has. Oh. The Prabhupada is also very elaborately explained. I think I'll have to take this tomorrow because I still have a lot of more explanation in my Bhagavatam book also. When I was attending this Bhakti Web of course, I have written so many notes on text number 33. Yeah. Many notes on text number 33. Yeah. So I think, dear devotees, I don't want to rush with these shlokas because these are the very cream shlokas. So see, 33rd, 34th, 35th and 36th. So we are left with 4 shlokas, but I doubt whether we'll be able to complete even tomorrow. So what do you all desire and what do I also desire? So I will first ask your desire and then I'll tell my desire. Because the Supreme Lord also will ask the Jivatma's desire first. He will not tell his desire. So I'm opening the floor for just giving your vote that what do you want? Should we rush? Should we not rush? Should we relish these 4 seed verses? What is your thought on that? If you all are feeling shy by telling, you all can just type it also on a personal chat.
Mataji, Hare Krishna, Dhanuttam.
Dhanvat Pranam Prabhuji.
As it is very important, Mataji, we can go slowly, no problem, Mataji.
Yeah, even I was thinking the same thing that we can, because Prabhuji, the next chapter, if you see the title of the next chapter, I mean, very relishing this chapter is saying the Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. So when I had read the first time this title to the second canto, the 10th chapter, and I said, oh wow, such a wonderful title Prabhupada has given. Bhagavatam is the, I beg apologies. Bhagavatam is the answer to all the questions. So such a so the 10th chapter is also will be very relishing, and so we'll be finishing this. You can say the 10th chapter by maybe August 15 or something, and we'll be moving on to third canto. So maybe in 6 months we have completed almost canto 1 and canto 2 as such, and we'll be embarking on canto 3. Canto 3 is a very elaborate canto. It has somewhere around like 33 chapters. 33 or 36 chapters it has. So I want to know the thoughts of other devotees also.
Hare Krishna Mataji, yes, we should go slowly, Mataji.
Yeah, Shyam Sundari Mataji saying going slow. Sushil Prabhu, what's your thought on that?
Yes, Mataji, I also think that
Yes, okay. Thank you so much. Akshita Beta, what do you think?
Yes, Mataji, it's completely fine.
And Vrinda Beta, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we should be going slowly and we should be relishing all of them. Yeah.
Thank you, Vrinda. Thank you. So I hope I'm not imposing my thoughts on you all. It's just that I'm asking everybody that we should just relish. And Vinita Mataji has also given a thumbs up on it that yes. And yeah, I think everybody is given their thumbs up. So I think we'll just relish every shloka. Maybe even if it is taking half an hour, 45 minutes, we'll just relish and we just go ahead. We'll go with the flow of the Bhagavatam book only, with the flow of Krishna. As he is taking us, we'll go with that flow only. So, dear devotees, thank you so much for joining in. And I'm very eternally indebted to all of you all. For this Purushottam month, it is so auspicious to read the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And had it not been, you all on this forum, I think I would be just, I would be in lethargy and definitely I would be in pride. So thank you so much for always helping me to be active and humble. So thank you so much, dear devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Nanda.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.